This is RedbirdHD.TV. I'm John Twork, joined by Illinois State head baseball coach Bo Durkac, who was hired just last week. And Bo, congratulations on the new position. Just tell us what that felt like to be named the head coach here at Illinois State.
Well, there's a lot of anxiety from when Mark left to the draft to my personal career, what was going to happen over the next couple of weeks. It was very nerve-wracking, but I went through the interview process. I know Larry interviewed a couple of really high-end candidates, but ultimately chose me. And when he sent me a text saying he wanted to chat last Thursday, I walked into his office. I wasn't sure what to expect. I told him it was either going to be one of the best days of my life or one of the worst days of my life. As it turned out, it was certainly one of the best days of my life. I couldn't be happier.
Well, we're thrilled to have you on board. And just tell us a little bit about your background for folks who don't know where you're from, what got you into coaching, and how you ended up here at Illinois State.
Grew up in Western Pennsylvania. Typical kid, played multiple sports. Was a four-sport athlete in high school, but wanted to play something at the professional level someday. Baseball was my best sport. Went off to North Carolina as a freshman. That's where I met Mark Kingston for the first time. We stayed in touch over the years, but after my freshman year, I transferred out, went to Virginia Tech, resumed my college career there, played 3 great years there. Got a chance to sign a contract with the Arizona Diamondbacks at the beginning of their farm system in the mid-90s. Played there for a couple of years, played some independent league baseball, played some ball overseas in Australia and Colombia, Taiwan. Decided I wanted to get into coaching, and through some connection, I was able to hook up at Charlotte down in North Carolina and coached there for 7 years. Stayed in touch with Mark the whole time. Always said that if he ever got a head coaching job, he'd want me to be his top assistant. Well, sure enough, when he came up here in 2008, he started talking about coming up here, and I made a decision in 2009 to join him on his staff. And here we are 5 years later with a pretty successful program and a chance for me to, realize the dream of becoming a Division I head coach.
Let's talk about the program a little bit. Mark took it to a whole new level. He left the program in better shape than he found it, that's for sure. And 2 championships, 1 conference title. This program's about as good as it's ever been. Expectations are about as high as they've ever been. What does this mean to you now to take the program where it is now, hopefully to another level?
It's going to be tough, there's no doubt about it. To be where we've been the last 5 years has been a testament to the coaching staff, to the administration, to the players, of course. But truly, if I didn't feel like this program could get to another level, I would have gone with Mark to South Florida and tried to get something going down there. We're going to have to work extremely hard in the recruiting process and the development process to make sure that we've identified and recruited and brought into the program the right caliber of student athlete. But I truly think that with the right staff in place, we can do that. And I don't know if we'll ever crack the top 10, but I think we can be a perennial top 50 team in terms of RPI every year, but we have very little room for error, and I still think we can do that.
You've been the recruiting coordinator during your assistantship here and have brought in some top recruits. This past month, the Redbirds had 6 players drafted in the MLB draft, which was the most ever in program history. What does it take to bring high-caliber student athletes like that to Illinois State, and how can you continue bringing those caliber players to ISU?
Well, I think it's kind of a snowball effect. Once young players see the effect that we had on as coaches on the incoming players and what they've done with their career, whether it's Jeremy Rhodes being drafted in the 4th round after not being drafted out of high school, Brock Stewart being drafted in the 6th round as a pitcher when he was basically a position player here for most of his career, Dylan Craig being drafted in the 12th round after not being drafted coming out of high school. What we've done here to develop our guys into professional prospects has been as good as anybody in the Midwest. Again, that's a testament, number 1, to the coaches for identifying the right players, number 2, for coaching them the right way, and number 3, for the players themselves for buying into what we professed and putting in all the time and work that they did.
Also, the administration has been very supportive, having Duffy Bass Field as just a gym to show off to recruits. That has to be so helpful, right?
Definitely. In this day and age, look, competition brings out the best in everybody, whether it's players, coaching staffs, universities. Nobody wants to have the inferior facility on its campus. And when baseball, back in the late 90s and early 2000s started to have the boom where all these multi-million dollar stadiums were being built, Illinois State saw in the late 2000s that if we want to be a player in this state, we need to make some kind of commitment. And Larry Lyons and his staff gave us an unbelievable facility Of course, with the field turf being added in the spring of 2013, we have the best on-campus baseball facility in the state of Illinois. I truly believe that, and I'm excited to show up every day to go to work.
When you talk about recruits, you bring them in. A lot of them, almost all of them, have the goal to play baseball, then at the next level eventually. You had the opportunity to do that, had a 7-year career playing professionally across the globe. How did that experience help you as an assistant, and how does that continue to help you as a head coach now?
Well, for sure, being around great coaches, great players, whether you learn from what they say or learn by watching what they do, little hitting tips, fielding tips, stuff that you just pick up over the years. It's one thing to hear it, but I think I've been given a great mind to retain it and be able to pass it on to my guys. I may not have been able to do the great things, otherwise I'd have played in the big leagues, but in terms of learning the game from some very respected longtime baseball men, being on the same field as some Major League All-Stars and MVP caliber candidates every day, watching them go about their business really helped me understand the game from a player's point of view. And then my job as a coach now is to pass on all the information. When a player doesn't make it to the big leagues, he always feels like he's a failure to a certain degree. I think everybody feels that way. I had a sting of failure when I first got out of it, but understanding that what I can pass on to my players now kind of makes up for that. And if they're willing to hear what I have to say, I think I have a lot of things I can provide them.
I'm guessing your free time is pretty limited right now, trying to build a staff and get this team ready to roll next year and continue to improve, as you said, upon the success they had last season. Talk about what are you up to now in terms of hiring staff and getting players ready for the 2014-15 season, and how excited are you for that?
Well, it's been awesome. It's been a combination of anxiety but excitement at the same time. With the way the draft hurt us, I am still trying to shore up next year's team, while most coaches in the country are recruiting the rising senior and even the rising junior classes. I'm still making sure that we have a competitive team on the field next year with the way the draft hurt us. I've also been working on little things like scheduling, meeting with people on staff, whether it's development, strength and conditioning coaches, equipment, all the things that a head coach has to deal with. I've been a one-man gang here for about 3 weeks. Like I said, it's been at times overwhelming, but also incredibly rewarding.
Finally, what do you want this program to represent? Bo Durkac, Illinois State baseball, fill in the blank. What do you want people to think about when they think about you as a head coach and this program?
Well, off the field, I want fans, people involved with the program to see that our kids are of the highest character from a student-athlete standpoint, good students, conducting themselves the right way on and off the field, active in the community, proud to wear the Redbird red. On the field, I want a team that looks the part, that has the look of a high-end caliber team that can compete for championships every year, a team that plays hard, that plays fast, that respects its opponent, certainly never fears an opponent, and goes out there every day like it's the last game they're ever going to play, and they're going to leave it all on the field night in and night out.
Bo, thanks for your time, and best wishes as you get going, and good luck in the 2014-15 season.
Okay, thank you, John. I'm happy to be here.
That's Bo Durkac in his first year as the head coach of the Illinois State Redbirds. I'm John Twork, and this is RedbirdHD.tv.